yet again to another episode of Women in Business. We're always delighted to have you. This is Doreen Kemcha, Women in Business on Smart 24 TV. Like I always say, we are very keen on three things. We are keen on the inspiring journeys of women that we get to host on this program. We're also keen on mentorship as well as the linkage to resources. So every time we get to meet, those three particular themes must come through. On this episode today, we have an amazing woman. We always bring amazing women to these, to these shows. You're laughing. But today we have Mrs. Dora Tushabe Onyango. She's also the director, mother, friend, wife, and director of Happy Toddlers Kindergarten in Buziga. We're delighted to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Some of the things that we have been keen on, Dora, is, and we even talked about it earlier, is who we are as a woman, Are we just, like I said, reproductive systems? Are we just, just here to bear children and to cook and to have all these other gender roles and just go through life as you give until you give everything of yourself, and remain empty? Or we have other things as well that make us who we are. You mentioned something that I loved in our conversation. What's your take on that?
Women are also human beings, and however much they are also weaklings, they have to always come up. They contribute a lot to community.
Why do you call us weaklings?
I think it is the way we are so vulnerable because of how God created us to be. A woman, the strength of a woman to lift something heavy is not like the strength of a man. Physically. So that doesn't make a woman to just sit down and not contribute to the world, not contribute to the community, and not to be themselves. It is how a woman looks at it and the people around them. So I want to encourage women that they should know they are not just women. And they are very important into the community, because without a woman, shall we have families? No. Will these children grow? Even the men that reach a point and they're so aggressive and they don't want to understand, they should always have respect for a woman, because whatever they are, it is this woman who goes to the hospital and produces a child, takes care of them, of each and everything, to a level even when they get to be married.
But some men come out, Dora, and say, you know what, this is like you have overplayed this song to the max. You've heard them say that. You've overplayed this to the maximum, because every time you are looking for support, every time the woman is looking for support, every time she's looking for some sort of recognition, that is where she first starts. I birthed you, I carried you, I did this. Yes, apart from that, after the 9 months, yes, you did the birthing. So what? What happens next? Is it the only identity? And this is what I keep saying. Is it per se the only identity that we have, or there is much more than just birthing? There is much more than just reproduction. Do we have dreams? Should we have dreams? Should we pursue them? Should we aggressively tackle these things?
I think a woman is not an individual in a community. She's also part of the community and building up the nation and the world. And she has dreams and she has likings, and she has to also know at the same time where she fits as a woman. I have to be at home and cook and look after my children and my husband and go to an extra mile. That is where the dreams come from. And then they get to be aware of themselves. If you're to do something, then there is a way you to do it. If you're to fit somewhere, there is a way you can be. It is all about contribution and knowing who you are as a woman. Why am I here? What's my purpose? And how can I fulfill my purpose? Your purpose is not only to produce children and look after a man. You also you contribute.
There's much more.
Yes, there's much more than that. That is where the dreams will come in, and that is where you'll find, what can I do? There are women who have done work for men, even better than men. So it is the cultures that we do have, and it is how we perceive things. It is the everyday life, the habits that we have. It is the background, our mothers, our fathers, people around us, how they really take a woman. So I think we've reached a point of like, a woman is very important in the face of every area, in the face of every part. Wherever you are, a woman has to be. If she's part of the community, the world we are in, then the woman has to come up. And there is a Baha'i book called The Greatest That Might Be Theirs. That is, a man should know how important a woman is. He cannot work alone. The woman has to come in. And this is how God created the world. There is a woman and there is a man. So a woman should not feel inferior that he is vulnerable, can't do something. If he can think and reason, then that means he can fit anywhere with their weaknesses, with their vulnerability.
I speak to lots of women. I speak to so many women, those that we're delighted to host, you know, because there's so many women. And then we also get to speak to those ones that are in the villages, you know, out of town. And then we also get to speak to those ones that are, you know, in the urban centers. But at all times, I have spoken to the women down in the villages, not all, just a couple of them. This is not a blanket statement, really. And sometimes a woman says, you know what, I will do whatever I'm supposed to do as a woman. Yes? But the confines of what they're supposed to do is so limited to gender roles, to what their grandmother and the mother did. And sometimes I've had a woman tell me, you know what, when you are talking about a change, a need for change, and I had one come up and tell me, you know what do you want me to do? You know, my mother suffered. My grandmother suffered. My sisters have suffered. So this is my fate in life as a woman, you know? And then it bugs me. It really bugs me at the back of my mind. I'm like, where are the dreams? Why is the woman emancipation? Why is it that our sisters out there, you know, still have this cyclical way of thinking, cyclical poverty? They are still mentally bound. What can be done to get our sisters out of this?
I'm very happy that I can be part of helping the women out there to come up at this time. And this is what I could say. The cultures that we are brought up in really mold who a woman is, you understand? But we've reached a level of whereby a woman has to come up. Even the world at large has discovered that a man can't be there and be sitting in the offices, and yet his well-being is from home. And this lady, what can she do? She can also be in an office and be better. When it comes to world peace, it is a woman, because she knows, where will my children be? But the men are out there looking for money. So it is high time for a woman to also come up and see, how does money come about? What is money?
Stress. Please tell them. Talk to the woman out there listening to you right now.
Everywhere you go to, they tell you money, money, money. But what is money? We have to learn what money is. Is it the overall? Is it what makes us who we are? What else that makes us who we are? And how can we get this money? If this woman is to get money, she has to come up into public and get to know financial literacy and get to know trade and get to know, if I'm to make money, how is it? Is it only in shillings? Is it in dollars? Is it in pounds? Which are the type?
So many different currencies.
So I think the woman has to come up and know what money is a different thing, and come out from those poor cultures and know. But all that comes out from education. So we have to inspire the women go to school. We have to come up and teach them. Even the lower woman who is just there now, who didn't have access to education, can be taught. It is all about reasoning and the mind. And then get to know that they are very important into this world if we are to be happy, if we are to have world peace, if we are to earn this money and be successful. And I'm told there's a lot there, abundance in everything, success in everywhere. But how can a woman get this success?
And this is what I love about women in business, this program. It's like it opens, it opens it opens the space, the platform to get to listen to the different views of different women in whatever niches they are at. You know, when we get to have conversations with the woman down and she says, you know what, let me just do what I'm supposed to do. Yes, and that is take care of my kids, till the land, take care of my kids, and bear children for my husband. Yes, you come up and you have a different vibe, and you're saying, you know what, there is much more than that. There is much more than that, and each part and parcel of a woman is meant to add to something in society, to something in their homes. They're supposed to dream. They're supposed to look just more than where she is. Is this how you started off with your school? Was it a dream? Was it something under that pretext of wanting to do much more? How did you start out with the school?
I've always felt like you can do better than this. And with my background, I've always been told how women are mistreated. And I had the interest of helping the women. So I would think about it. Why is it us? Why are men beating women? Is it that they are very stupid, they can't think? Or is it because they don't know how to make them happy? So I would always have those questions.
Thinking.
And I would always think. And when I went to school, then I'm like, I have the education. Now, why do I have my husband? And he's telling me, stay home. Why is my mother-in-law coming in and trying to do this and this?
Did that happen?
I'm very sorry about that.
No, I think.
But that's a fact.
Don't be sorry.
This is
don't be sorry. Yes, don't be sorry, because these are conversations that make us unique. You know, these are conversations that make us unique and yet also alike. You know. I had one guest say, the moment my business began to grow, yes, that is when my spouse gave me such a hard time and said, you know what, I want to be part and parcel of that business and I need 50%. You know? It's not as if, and this is the inspiring part of the conversations that we have, because some have it your way, like you have your journey, and there's nothing wrong with your journey, but there's someone else, another woman right now that is having that particular segment of that journey. But it happens so many times. It happens so many times because we are also in a very patriarchal system. We're in an African society, yes, and this is sometimes the norm. So you were being asked to stay at home, and you stayed home for quite some time. Yeah. And had your children?
As a woman, you have to first know who you are. Of course, you have to bear children and you have to take care of them. When you leave your child very young and leave it to the hands of the maid and other people, then the children are going to be with the knowledge of the maid and the other people. So you have to teach your own child. You have to bond. It has always been a challenge when you're bonding with your child and the husband is leaving you and is going away. So it is communication. It is this voice at this time that the woman has to come up and talk. It is not a rare thing. It's not something to be shy about. Every woman goes through. Every man knows my wife reaches a point and she can't comb her hair. She's looking around. She no longer has a waist. She's just there. So I want them to face it. I want the men to face it and know that that is human nature. A woman has nothing to do about it. She's very busy. She's planning to put for you food on the table. Make sure tomorrow you go to office and bring us food to eat. You're looking very good. And she has these children and herself. This is when the dreams come in. We don't only stop at home. At a certain level, you have to plan and schedule and say, I'm a social worker. So what do I contribute to the community?
But they do make fun, and they do make fun of the woman that is overwhelmed, that is, you know, not taking quite as much interest as she had in maybe her makeup and all this. You know, lots of comedians make quite a lot of fun about it. But this also brings to light, what is our support system? What is our support system at times such as this, when we are feeling overwhelmed, at times like this, when we, you know, when all our attention is to our children and our spouses and our businesses? Do you have a support system? You do have a support system?
I do have a support system. Whenever I'm challenged, I get time to say a prayer. And I say it exactly like I'm talking to you. I'm like, God, I am not seeing a way. I would like to put room for me and put a way for me. I'm having challenges with my parents. They're not understanding me about this. How can I do it? So you have time for yourself. Yeah. You have time to analyze and say, am I the one who is in wrong, or it is the parents? How am I supposed to do it better? Or maybe my attitude was so poor. I need to change my attitude. The women out there, they need to know the reality about changes when you're a mother, when you get to be a mother. Those are changes they need to know. Because of too much work, because of the process you've gone through, you can never be the same. So you have to always remember, this is for a short time. It's not going to be there for a long time. I'm going to come out of it. You have to surround yourself with the women who are out there, the old women who are older than you. Ask them, how did you go about this? How can I do my own? And let me tell you, people are there to tell you.
What about the younger ones? What about surrounding yourself with the younger ones?
The young ones, just to refresh you, but because the young ones don't have a reasoning of like, we have to survive. It is all about surviving, because when you get to keep at home and you don't pursue your dream, maybe your husband is not doing much. The men want to always be powerful, but then they say every home, every family, behind it there is a strong woman. So how strong are you? Ask yourself, why do they talk like that? Is it true or it is not true? Yeah. You get it? Yeah. And so I want to tell the women to always know it's just changes which will not stay. You just have to know when you're a mother, you have to be pregnant for 9 months, you have to go to the hospital, you have to always prepare. It's not an abuse, it is not bad, but you just know what goes about it. It is for a certain time, and then you have to do other things, you have to contribute, you have to make other people happy. You have relatives, you have your children, you have people go to office, you need each other. So how do you do that? You sit down and you're like, okay, for a short time.
For a short time.
And I have a dream, but that dream will not just come to you with what, if you just keep at home. So you need time to go to the market, you need time to learn, you need time to, we should always ask. It is the voice and you talk.
How long did it take for you to, after taking off time, to raise your children and everything, how long did it take for you to polish your dream and then bring it to life? And that's the kindergarten. Yes. That's the year?
That's
a year.
Not a year. Yeah. Not a year, because I just started, and my last born is 5 years old. I started my kindergarten when I was pregnant, and I said, God, now when I want to do something, I am pregnant. What should I do about this?
Yes.
I remember
the timing.
The timing was very poor, but then I said, you want to look after other children and you don't want to look after your own. How are you going to look after other people's children? These other people are going to see how you bring up your children, and then they will think that's how you're going to bring theirs. You're going to be an example in different ways. And this is the first one. So my husband came in and was like, you really want to start a school? Will you get children around here? I said, yes, I will. Yes. I had a lot of faith, a lot of confidence, but after I had prepared, I would read about children. I'm a social worker, and so I did study about children and children's rights and how to bring them the well-being of children. So I sat down and I'm like, how am I going to do this? I have a background of helping in a nursery school and Claire's kindergarten in Mengo. And as a Baha'i, I had children classes. They would teach us how to deal with the children and lead and read. And the confidence came out of that, helping and dealing with the children a lot. So when I came back to zero down with what I studied in school, And I said, what can I do? And I'm like, I'll deal with the children. I remember sharing with my fellow students at university. I told them, you know, when I finish school, I'm going to open up a school. And my friends straight away went and opened up a school.
Oh, really?
And I said, oh my God, these girls copied my dream and they're doing it. But I was happy for them because I'm like, I'll ask them that when it comes to my time, how to do it. It is all about research and knowing what you have to do with all that is surrounding you.
First hold on, isn't it funny? You know, we always have, something always comes into our minds about, you know what, this person copied my business, you know? Because I told this person about it maybe, and lo and behold, before you know it, this person is actually not, someone else. This person is not even telling you because they don't want, you know, some conflict to get. It's someone else who comes in and tells you, oh, by the way, did you know your friend started it up? But I love the fact that the idea about it is we never run out of ideas. That's number one. We are not the sole owners of one unique idea, you know? Even if you don't start up, and this is what I always tell people, if you don't start up that particular, you know, idea, wonderful as it is, someone else will, you know? Someone else will. And you'll be like, I thought about that idea like 3 years ago. I wish I had started. I wish I had started. You are not the sole person behind an idea. There's so many others that are thinking about it.
So it is all about how we take in things, how we perceive them, and it is how much knowledge that we do have. Everything starts with an idea, but starting is where it is hard. When it comes to business,
tell them.
Everyone needs the confidence, and everyone has different gifts and different talents. But how do you prepare? How do you research? How much desire do you have to start something? Many times people do things because of the hardships they have gone through. Let it not always be the hardship. Let us come up and be like, I want to start this. Can you help me? Let's learn to ask. Yes, and this is the voice. When women in business get together, they are going to learn a lot. I love when they get together. Let me hope all of them are listening.
And they are, and I want you to be able to tell them this. But before we get into that, I love the fact that you said, you know what, when we come together, we should be able to talk, to ask. And I'm very sure the lady out there, you'll get onto our social media pages, you'll get onto, you know, all these different, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, and get to tell us what you think, okay? But before we come back, we're going to talk about, before we come back and talk about this, we're going to just take a very short break, right? And we'll be right back after this message.